Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 11th session of the CanCham HKCBA Transpacific Entrepreneurship Conference. During this session, if there's any questions, please do submit them in the chat box. I'm so really delighted to have Arnold Leung, a fellow UBC alumnus, to join us in this conversation. Arnold is the founder and CEO of Appnovation. Arnold, welcome. Thank you for doing this.
Hi, Iggy. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I was so fascinated by your story. You told me a little bit earlier about how you started really young. You're only 36 years old, but you're already a veteran in this fast-moving industry. Yeah, please tell us, first of all, what is Appnovation? What does it do? How did you get started?
So I was born in Hong Kong, went to St. Joseph's College here, and then moved to Canada when I was 16, went through high school, and then went to University of British Columbia. I did my degree in finance at the Sauder School of Business, and then graduated when I was 21. That was back in 2007. Right after that, I started Appnovation. So early days, we're focused on providing software development services around open source technologies. Over time, we grew and transformed our business from being focused purely on open source technologies as a software to a business focused around building digital solutions for major enterprises around the world. We expanded to the US in 2012, to Europe in 2013, and then to Hong Kong in 2016. We also acquired two companies over the past years, one in Netherlands and one in Belgium in 2016. And we're open up in Singapore last year and looking to expand further around the world. So we're a pretty exciting business, working a lot with the healthcare sector being about 60 to 7% of our business, working with major pharmaceutical companies around the world and major health providers. So we're really excited to be in Asia, and we're excited to be growing around the world. We've got about 500 plus talent in 16 offices around the world these days.
Oh, that's really awesome. You know, and what also fascinates me about your story, Arnold, is in the midst of everything happening in Hong Kong and all the uncertainty, you moved from beautiful Vancouver to Hong Kong. I mean, why did you do that?
Well, the biggest thing is we find that the Asia Pacific area to be a really exciting place to be. This is especially true for countries like mainland China, in Japan, and also a lot of countries are opening up right now after COVID. Our business, again, is 60 to 7% focused on the healthcare and insurance industry. Insurance is one of the biggest sectors in Hong Kong and Singapore, and we're super excited to be here because we see there's a lot of growth. If you look at the demographics of the Asia Pacific area, it has the fastest growing area around the middle class. And the middle class will be looking into better healthcare solutions, looking into better healthcare insurance coverage. We believe that there's a lot of potential in this market, especially as we're exiting COVID in the coming few months to a year. So that's why we're here. We're here for the great opportunities that we see for the region.
That's awesome. It's such a uplifting story at a time of this uncertainty, that to see you, a fast-growing company, coming out here to Hong Kong and grow even more. I mean, challenges along the way, growth plans. How do you see this playing out for you in the future, Arnold?
Well, I mean, coming here when at the peak of COVID was definitely a bit challenging and a bit interesting. It's interesting, especially for us, because a number of our biggest customers are involved with the production of COVID vaccine and COVID pharmaceuticals. So supporting our great customers during this time has been pretty exciting. They went through a lot of logistical upgrades, a lot of logistical extensions to make it happen. As we can all see, the provision of vaccine and the provision of new drugs for the COVID treatment has happened really quickly, much quicker than we've ever seen in the history of pharmaceuticals, and maybe even in the past 100 years. The development of the vaccine only happened within 1 year of the pandemic, which is quite exciting and unprecedented compared to what was done before, even compared to SARS back in the early 2000s. So it's been it's been a crazy time for us, but we see that, like I said, the market here is fast growing. Everybody within the area is looking into investing further into healthcare. People are spending more, not less, into health solutions. So we see a lot of potential in the market here, and we're happy to be a member of the business community here.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You mentioned talent, and we talked about this separately too. You have a I would say a great advantage in terms of your people strategy. How would you describe that, and how were you able to retain so many good people?
We're a people first company. In the last 12 months, as reported by a number of newspapers, the turnover rate for a lot of our competitors in the industry has been really high. I mean, hitting up to even 40% for some of our competitors. But we have been fortunate. I mean, we have been able to maintain really good retention, up to 17+%, in less than 17% in turnover in the past quarter. So we've been pretty fortunate to be able to maintain our teams there. And how do we do that? I mean, it is by offering good programs like having me days, having good employment assistance programs, having a good global mobility solution to let our talent move around the world. Because a lot of our talent have younger families, so they really enjoy the support that we provide them, to give them the opportunity also to work from home, to have a hybrid work environment, letting them excel at what they do without having to worry about not being able to take care of their family along the way. So, and we also believe by having a diverse, inclusive culture, we're able to really benefit from having members of the team from various different backgrounds and having their different experiences. So all in all, we have a great team, and we're pleased that our efforts towards retaining such a team has been working really well for us.
One thing you also mentioned to me on a separate occasion was how you decentralize, how you seem to trust people, and have offices around the world, so you can't be sitting on top of everything, right? Right. How do you how does that come about? You just trust to be able to delegate to people and grow so fast and so successfully.
Well, I mean, Appnovation is actually my first job in life. Interestingly, I got out of school in 2007 and started the company after school. So there's always a lot for me to learn. I don't have as much experience as even a lot of executive team members that I have on the team. So I'm always here to listen to what others have to say and to learn from their experiences, which really made me a humble person. And being a humble person, I'm willing to delegate and willing to trust others, and realize also my own limitations early on in my career. And I believe this belief that I have has really enabled us to create a decentralized organization where we have general managers for the 4 different regions around the world, and enabling them to customize the solutions based on where they're located. What we offer in North America is not the same as what we offer in Europe, and it's not the same as what we offer in Asia Pacific. It is because the demand is different, the culture is different. We realize that we as a business must adapt to the environment versus try and sell the same thing around the world. So yeah, so I think that's all in all, that's why we have such a decentralized strategy.
We're just getting a question in here about the differences between, asking you, what are the differences that you've seen in between Canada and Hong Kong in terms of work practices?
The APAC market is quite different than North America. North America is quite a uniform market. Everybody speaks English and some French in Quebec. Asia Pacific is completely different. We have customers, for example, in Japan, in mainland China, in Hong Kong, in Singapore, in Thailand, in some in Australia. So all the different countries in Asia Pacific are really different, and how you customize your solution to these different markets is really critical. You can't just sell one size fit all. This is not North America, where Americans tend to buy similar things compared to Canadians, especially in the digital enterprise world. So you have to be pretty adaptive to the situation. And also we find that face-to-face is a lot more important in Asia than the rest of the world. And having local people that understand the culture is really important. they're really different cultures, even compared to North Asia and Southeast Asia. So we as a company must have a good team with diverse cultural backgrounds to enable us to service the customers well.
Arnold, can you tell us about some of the differences between Canada and Hong Kong? How has it been for you to come here and move here?
I mean, Hong Kong is a much smaller city compared to Vancouver, Toronto, or even Montreal. So as a result, everywhere is pretty easy to get to, which is pretty amazing. The weather is nice; it's pretty mild, especially in the winter time. It doesn't freeze. No need to wear the boots much anymore. So that's always nice. And in terms of food, there's food everywhere here. There's all kinds of food from Asian to European to everything you can think of in the world, and especially things like Japanese food. I mean, there's all kinds of sushi, pretty much everything you can think of from Japan, you can find it here. So it's a pretty exciting place, pretty dynamic place. So that would be the main difference.
And since we're both from UBC, I got to ask you this question. Is there anything you miss about UBC or any fond memories?
Going through the 4 years at Sauder was a pretty exciting time. There's a lot of good conferences. I experimented with entrepreneurship when I was at UBC. I did Enterprise, which was an entrepreneurship conference. So that was my first experimentation with starting a business, writing a business plan. So that was a great experience, and I think I learned a lot from it, and look forward to meeting other folks who have gone through the same program. And the interesting thing is the programs are continuously evolving. Whenever I talk to alumni from the different groups there, every year I learn something new, and there's always a great new program that's out there that wasn't around when I was at UBC.
And you've accomplished so much, Arnold, in such a short time since graduating and starting your company. Some big learnings, anything to share with the folks out there?
I think I learned from my beginning times as an entrepreneur to be always a humble person. There's always a lot that I can learn from others, and being somebody who started the business right after school, there's always a limitation of what I know, especially on the people side of things. So I always believe that I need to be humble and continuously learn from people who's around me.
You mentioned healthcare and insurance earlier. Has this been a good time, a bad time, and how did COVID feature in all this for you?
Well, for the healthcare industry, COVID was a transformation moment, I would say. Never in the history of drug development has any vaccine got out so fast. It's been within 1 year of pandemic, COVID vaccine came out already, and within 2 years of pandemic, there are already drug treatments, pretty highly effective treatments for COVID in the form of pills, which is never heard of. And also the way that pharmaceutical companies work has changed. They're becoming a lot more agile, a lot faster in their R&D process in adapting to the environment. We at Appnovation has been fortunate to have the opportunity to support our great customers. We work with 3 out of the top 10 big pharmas of the world, and working with them in the fast-growing environment the last 2 years has been exciting, and we look forward to continue to support our customers that way. For the insurance industry, the push towards spending more resources into healthcare has really pushed change. People are realizing the importance of having good healthcare insurance coverage. And we're seeing a lot of that happening, especially within Asia. And I think this is something that will continue to be the case. I mean, people are realizing how important their health is since COVID, including things like mental health. And I think people are going to take care of their health in a much greater way than before. And we're going to see the industry grow much quicker than the prior 10 years in the time to come.
And maybe, I guess, the big question, China, opportunities in China, how do you, and risks too, how do you see that playing out for you, Arnold?
China is a pretty exciting place. There's a fast-growing middle class. It is one of one of the biggest populations of folks in the world, and still one of the fastest, large economies out there, fastest growing large economies out there. So we see a lot of opportunities in mainland China. Obviously, we got to customize our solutions a bit more, because the internet providers in China, the digital landscape is quite different. There are a lot of brands, a lot of tools that are used in mainland China does not use outside of mainland China as much. Things like WeChat has been growing rapidly. So we as a digital services provider must customize our solutions to make it work for Chinese customers. But we're also really excited to say that a lot of our customers, a lot of the major brands in the world are adapting quickly to the internet landscape within mainland China, and we're able to help them to make the solutions work from North America to work within mainland China.
Yeah, and all along the way, Arnold, there's opportunities, threats, risks. How have you dealt with risks? Or what is your approach to taking risks?
As an entrepreneur by heart, I would say we've always been fairly open to risk. I would not say we're risk averse as a company. Otherwise, we wouldn't be where we are today. So we're always excited about new markets, always willing to invest in new markets, and also hire good talent to grow where we need to grow.
That's awesome. And so I guess the ambition, how large you're going to get, you want to get, how you're going to get there. What would you say to that? How large would you want to get?
Is a pretty exciting time for me. I'm only 36, like you said earlier. I'm still a young guy. I got a young family. I'm not looking to retire anytime soon. As a result, growth is a core focus of Appnovation. We're close to $100 million in revenue now in Canadian dollars, and we're looking to grow hopefully into a multi-billion-dollar in the coming years, coming decades. And we'll definitely invest to make that happen. We're supported by some great investors from around the world, including CBGF in Canada, EDC in Canada, and also BGF in the UK. We look forward to working with our investors to continually grow our business and to make it even further global. So I would say sky's the limit for Appnovation, and it's a pretty exciting time for us.
Okay, awesome, Arnold. So folks out there, you heard it here first at the Transpacific Entrepreneurship Conference, next billion-dollar company right here. Thank you so much, Arnold, for sharing your success secrets with us, and all the best in your growth.
Thanks, Iggy.
Thank you.